You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
Hey everybody, Dave here. I want to talk about our sponsor, LegalZoom. You know, I started my first business back in the early 90s, and what I would have done to have been able to have the services of an organization like LegalZoom back then. Just getting all of those business ducks in a row, all of that technical stuff, the legal stuff, the registrations of the business, the taxes, all of those things that you need to go through when you're starting a business, the hard stuff, the stuff that sucks up your time when you just want to get that business launched and out there. Well, LegalZoom has everything you need to launch, run, and protect your business all in one place. And they save you from wasting hours making sense of all that legal stuff. Launch, run, and protect your business to make it official today at LegalZoom.com. You can use promo code CYBER10 to get 10% off any LegalZoom business information product, excluding subscriptions and renewals. That expires at the end of this year. Get everything you need from setup to success at LegalZoom.com and use promo code CYBER10. That's LegalZoom.com and promo code CYBER10. LegalZoom provides access to independent attorneys and self-service tools. LegalZoom is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice except where authorized through its subsidiary law firm, LZ Legal Services, LLC. Meta details its efforts against pig butchering. The Salt Typhoon attack on major U.S. telecoms sparks interest from Congress. Microsoft dismantles 240 domains linked to the Onyx phishing-as-a-service platform. A major U.S. gambling and lottery provider suffers a cyber attack. Hackers exploit newly patched 0 days in Palo Alto Networks firewalls. Researchers say Fortinet VPN servers lack sufficient logging. A pilot program looks to improve security for small U.S. water utilities. Bitdefender warns of scams using Black Friday-themed spam emails. Our guest is Datadome's CEO and co-founder Benjamin Fabretto, discussing how fake accounts threaten Black Friday gaming sales. And a fond farewell for a true cyber innovator. It's Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Happy Friday, and thanks for joining us here today. It is great, as always, to have you with us. Pig butchering scams have escalated into a global crisis, with organized crime syndicates forcing trafficked individuals to run scams from compounds in Southeast Asia and the UAE. Meta, for the first time, has detailed its efforts to combat this activity. The company has worked with law enforcement and NGOs, taking down over 2 million accounts linked to scam operations this year. However, researchers criticize Meta for being slow to address its platform's role in enabling scams. The term pig butchering refers to scammers grooming victims through social media, messaging apps, or dating platforms, persuading them to invest in fake opportunities. Victims have collectively lost around $75 billion. Meanwhile, trafficked individuals, many lured by fraudulent job ads, are held in compounds and forced to scam under threats of violence. Over 200,000 people from more than 60 countries have been subjected to this exploitation. Meta acknowledges that pig butchering is an evolving, well-funded threat, with criminals leveraging tools like AI to evade detection. Scammers use AI to generate messages, create deepfakes, and translate scripts to target victims globally. In one case, OpenAI flagged accounts using ChatGPT for scam activities, leading Meta to shut them down. While Meta has increased account takedowns and safety measures, the scale of scams persists. Researchers argue that tech companies must do more to proactively address scammers exploiting their platforms, as moderation often fails to catch deceptive content in time. Chinese hackers, identified as Salt Typhoon, executed a far-reaching breach of U.S. telecommunications systems, exposing vulnerabilities and accessing sensitive communications, including those of political figures. The breach, linked to Chinese intelligence, targeted systems used for lawful wiretapping and exploited outdated equipment across major carriers like AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Hackers could monitor calls, read unencrypted texts, and gather metadata, raising national security concerns. However, they couldn't access encrypted communications like iMessage or Signal. Senator Mark Warner described the breach as the most severe telecom hack in U.S. history, exceeding the scale of SolarWinds or Colonial Pipeline incidents. The breach's full extent remains unclear, as investigators believe hackers may still be embedded in U.S. systems. Warner urged transparency and stronger cybersecurity standards to address critical vulnerabilities. The hack has reignited calls for reforming the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act, CALEA, to mandate robust cybersecurity requirements. While the FCC has authority to enforce such standards, action has been delayed. Intelligence agencies are investigating potential exposure of sensitive surveillance systems, with officials warning of the significant risks posed by the intrusion. Microsoft has dismantled 240 domains linked to Onyx, a phishing-as-a-service platform targeting Microsoft 365 and other tech companies since 2017. Known for high-volume phishing campaigns, Onyx facilitated attacks using do-it-yourself kits sold on Telegram for $150 to $550 per month. The phishing kits included features like two-factor authentication bypass and targeted tech firms such as Google, Dropbox, and Microsoft. Onyx attackers also employed advanced tactics like QR code phishing, which exploited victims' mobile devices and evaded traditional detection methods. These campaigns targeted financial sector employees and used encrypted JavaScript to evade anti-phishing scanners. Operations ceased in June of this year after researchers identified Onyx's owner, Abhinav Naidu. Through a court order, Microsoft redirected Onyx's infrastructure, cutting off access and deterring future attacks. This follows similar actions by Microsoft against Russian hackers and other cybercrime operations in recent years. International Game Technology, IGT, a major U.S. gambling and lottery provider, suffered a cyber attack causing significant disruptions. The company took systems offline as a precaution and is investigating while working to restore operations. It has implemented workarounds to continue servicing customers, but has not yet assessed financial impacts. IGT has over 11,000 employees and $1.9 billion in 2023 revenue, and they provide lottery, gambling machine, and sports betting technology. While no group has claimed responsibility, ransomware has increasingly targeted casinos and lotteries. Hackers have exploited two newly patched zero-day vulnerabilities in Palo Alto Networks firewalls, compromising approximately 2,000 devices globally. The flaws include an authentication bypass and a privilege escalation, allowing attackers to gain administrator and root access. Palo Alto Networks has observed malware deployments and command execution via these exploits. Though Palo Alto Networks acknowledges the flaw affecting a limited number of devices, Shadow Server has identified over 2,700 vulnerable systems. CISA added these flaws to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, requiring federal agencies to patch firewalls by December 9th. A design flaw in Fortinet VPN servers allows attackers to verify credentials during brute force attacks without logging successful attempts, concealing compromised logins. Researchers from Pantera discovered that FortiClient VPN logs only failed login attempts during the authentication stage, while successful logins are recorded in the subsequent authorization phase. By halting the process after authentication, attackers can validate credentials without detection. Though failed attempts alert admins to brute force activity, the lack of logs for successful logins poses a significant risk, enabling attackers to exploit credentials later. Fortinet has not classified this issue as a vulnerability, leaving it unclear if a fix will be implemented. The University of Chicago's Cyber Policy Initiative, DEFCON, and the National Rural Water Association have launched a pilot program called DEFCON Franklin to improve cybersecurity for small U.S. water utilities. 6 utilities across Utah, Vermont, Indiana, and Oregon will partner with volunteer cybersecurity experts to assess and strengthen their defenses. This initiative addresses the vulnerabilities of 91% of U.S. community water systems, which serve fewer than 10,000 people and often lack resources for cybersecurity. Cyber attacks on water infrastructure are escalating, with incidents linked to Chinese, Iranian, and Russian actors compromising critical systems. DEFCON Franklin's tailored, volunteer-driven approach aims to provide scalable, cost-effective solutions to safeguard the nation's water sector. This effort follows EPA warnings that 70% of U.S. water systems fail to meet basic cybersecurity standards. Bitdefender warns that 77% of Black Friday-themed spam emails in 2024 are scams, marking a 7% increase from 2023 and a 21% rise from 2022. These scams often aim to steal personal data, banking information, or money through phishing emails, fake purchases, or malware like banking Trojans. The U.S. is the top target, receiving 38% of Black Friday spam, while Europe accounts for 44%, with Germany and France heavily affected. Scammers have tailored their tactics to various demographics, using fake brand impersonations and region-specific offers. Examples include Trojan-laden emails targeting Spanish tech enthusiasts, phishing campaigns advertising discounted Ray-Ban sunglasses, and survey scams impersonating UK retailers like Tesco and Costco. To avoid scams, users should verify email sources, avoid clicking unsolicited links, use security tools, and approach surveys with caution. Coming up after the break, my conversation with Benjamin Fabretto from Datadome. We're discussing how fake accounts may threaten Black Friday gaming sales and a fond farewell for a true cyber innovator. Stay with us. And now, a word from our sponsor, KnowBe4. It's all connected, and we're not talking conspiracy theories. When it comes to InfoSec tools, effective integrations can make or break your security stack. The same should be true for security awareness training. KnowBe4, provider of the world's largest library of security awareness training, provides a way to integrate your existing security stack tools to help you strengthen your organization's security culture. KnowBe4's Security Coach uses standard APIs to quickly and easily integrate with your existing security products from vendors like Microsoft, CrowdStrike, and Cisco, 35 vendor integrations and counting. Security Coach analyzes your security stack alerts to identify events related to any risky security behavior from your users. Use this information to set up real-time coaching campaigns targeting risky users based on those events from your network, endpoint, identity, or web security vendors. Then coach your users at the moment the risky behavior occurs, with contextual security tips delivered via Microsoft Teams, Slack, or email. Learn more at knowbe4.com/securitycoach. That's knowbe4.com/securitycoach. And we thank KnowBe4 for sponsoring our show. Do you know the status of your compliance controls right now? Like, right now. We know that real-time visibility is critical for security, but when it comes to our GRC programs, we rely on point-in-time checks. But get this. More than 8,000 companies like Atlassian and Quora have continuous visibility into their controls with Vanta. Here's the gist. Vanta brings automation to evidence collection across 30 frameworks, like SOC 2 and ISO 27001. They also centralize key workflows like policies, access reviews, and reporting, and helps you get security questionnaires done 5 times faster with AI. Now that's a new way to GRC. Get $1,000 off Vanta when you go to vanta.com/cyber. That's vanta.com/cyber for $1,000 off. Benjamin Fabretto is CEO and co-founder of Datadome. I recently caught up with him to discuss how fake accounts may threaten Black Friday gaming sales.
So every year we see that Black Friday is a moment when our customers and the large retailers have a huge spike of traffic, and that among this large increase of traffic, a significant part of it is coming from bots and attackers. So this year we decided to have our threat research team to have a look and test the security of those large retailers in the US, in UK, and in Europe to understand how much they are ready and they are properly protected against the evolution of those bot attacks.
Well, let's dig into your findings here. What did you discover?
Yeah, so we tend to map the threat on the user journey for retailers. So everything on the login section with the account creation, the login attempt, then everything around the cart, and finally the payments. So that's the 3 areas that we usually test and we want to protect. So our finding is that on the test we've done, is that 30% of those websites have almost zero protection on the account creation section of the website. That means any basic bots can create thousands of accounts without any protection. And if we look at the sophisticated bots, we've discovered that 3/4 of those websites are not protected against the sophisticated threats, like bots that can solve CAPTCHA or bots that can work around multi-factor authentications. So that's the first learning and surprise for us, considering the risk that Black Friday is creating for those websites.
And what about the other parts of an online experience here? What other things did you discover?
Yeah, so after the account creation, the second risk is the login, or the threats like account takeover, like credential stuffing. And what we've seen is that 60% of those websites have even no CAPTCHA in place. You know, CAPTCHA is like the first security measure that some website can use. Even though it's not perfect, it's sort of first layer of security. And actually, a significant part and the majority of the websites don't have any CAPTCHA, neither more sophisticated protection like bot protection is. And the second discovery around the login is that the fraud, most of the time, will involve to use disposable email, for instance. And we've seen that significant part of those websites actually don't have any protection against all the techniques used by attackers to create disposable emails and then run attacks at scales on those websites. So that was surprising also, especially considering all the major attacks we've seen in 2024 with those very large-scale credential stuffing and account takeover attacks.
And then what about checkout itself?
Yeah, so the checkout also is a very sensitive area for multiple reasons. First, with the cart, we can see that attackers are trying to buy all the products that have some limited supply. So, every single year there is like the one product that everyone wants and that have a very limited supply. This year, it's probably going to be the PS5 Pro. And what we saw is that significant part of those websites, like 65% of the website, don't have a real security in place to prevent the abuse, what we call the scalpers, so the bots that are trying to buy those products on the sensitive part. And on the checkout, so the payment itself, it's also very interesting to see that the payment fraud, which is going through the roof, with all the bots that will try stolen credit card numbers on the checkout, have also not been very accurately blocked during our testing. So on the 14 large retailers that we've tried, only 3 had a very strong security in place at the very late stage of the checkout. So a significant gap here, and we hope that those websites are going to increase their security measures.
Why do you suppose so many websites are coming up short here? Is this a matter of saving money, or are they trying to reduce friction with the folks who are, buying from them?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's always a balance between security and user experience. What we've seen is that the friction that some of the security solution can provide, like the CAPTCHA with the painful red light and crosswalk, etc., that can generate some friction for the user experience, and that's the reason why now the state of the art is just to try to get rid of those painful CAPTCHA. And I think the second learning here is that the dangerous part of the rise of AI that can be leveraged by attackers is not really, as we speak, properly assessed by those enterprises. We've seen that now we're using a Gen AI, for instance. It's very, very simple to create a sophisticated bots, while just with a few clicks, you can turn your laptop into a massive attacks to create millions of fake accounts, and using some very legitimate content. Now it's almost impossible to distinguish what is legitimate or not just looking at the content, because when you use ChatGPT or Gen AI tools, you can create some content that looks perfect.
We're coming up on Black Friday here, when certainly many, many folks will be doing a lot of online shopping. Do you have any tips for the consumers themselves to protect themselves? Are there ways to know if a website that they're shopping on is more secure than one of their competitors?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, of course, the hard work is supposed to be done by the retailer themselves, but the consumers also have some power here. First, they can make sure that they are using unique password for every single website. So if one of those websites get compromised, you are sure that your credential won't be reused somewhere else. The second action that we always recommend is to use multi-factor authentication. So to require, for instance, some authentication token or SMS, which is not the best one, but convenient. So you can make sure your credentials are safe. And usually you want to work with retailers and to shop on retailers that offer those mechanisms. How complex can be my password on this website? Can I turn on multi-factor authentications? That's all the measures that you have to be able to do on those retailers.
That's Benjamin Fabretto from Datadome. And now, a word from our sponsor, NordPass. NordPass is an advanced password manager from the team behind NordVPN. designed to help keep your business safe from data leaks and cyber threats. It gives your IT professionals control over who has access to your company's data and makes it easy for everyone else on your team to use strong passwords. Right now, you can go to www.nordpass.com/cyberwire for 35% off the NordPass Business Yearly Plan. Don't miss out on that. And finally, an appreciation for Thomas E. Kurtz, a visionary mathematician who transformed the world of computing with his co-invention of BASIC, the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. Dr. Kurtz, who recently passed away at 96, sought to make computers accessible to students beyond math and engineering alongside his colleague John Kemeny. In the early 1960s, when computers were vast and esoteric, they pioneered the Dartmouth time-sharing system, enabling multiple users to access a single machine simultaneously. BASIC occupies a unique and often underappreciated place in the history of computing. While modern programmers may look down on it as simplistic or outdated, BASIC was revolutionary in its time, democratizing access to programming and sparking a passion for coding in countless beginners. Its straightforward commands, run, print, stop, invited curiosity and creativity, making the complex world of computing approachable for students, hobbyists, and future tech leaders like Bill Gates. BASIC's simplicity was its strength. It removed barriers, proving that programming didn't have to be intimidating. Though today's sophisticated languages power cutting-edge applications, BASIC's legacy is profound. It opened the door to personal computing and laid the foundation for generations of innovation, reminding us that accessibility often drives the greatest breakthroughs. Dr. Kurtz's vision extended beyond technology. He believed in empowering everyday individuals with tools for exploration and creativity. His legacy lives on in modern programming education and technologies like cloud computing. His contributions remain foundational, ensuring computing is not just for the few, but for everyone. For me personally, I can honestly say I would probably not be doing what I do today professionally were it not for having crossed paths with those early 8-bit computers and the creativity they sparked in me as a young teen. So thank you, Dr. Kurtz, and warm condolences for all who knew and loved him. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. Be sure to check out this weekend's Research Saturday and my conversation with Ami Lutwak, co-founder and CTO of Wiz. We're sharing their work. Wiz Research finds critical NVIDIA AI vulnerability affecting containers using NVIDIA GPUs, including over 35% of cloud environments. That's Research Saturday. Check it out. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. We're privileged that N2K CyberWire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K makes it easy for companies to optimize your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your teams while making your team smarter. Learn how at n2k.com. This episode was produced by Liz Stokes. Our mixer is Trey Hester, with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Eiben. Our executive editor is Brandon Karp. Simone Petrella is our president. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. And I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week. The IT world used to be simpler. You only had to secure and manage environments that you controlled. Then came new technologies and new ways to work. Now, employees, apps, and networks are everywhere. This means poor visibility, security gaps, and added risk. That's why Cloudflare created the first-ever connectivity cloud. Visit cloudflare.com to protect your business everywhere you do business.